All right, welcome to Skins episode 5, presented by Golf City Bets. We had an interesting week last week. We had Morikawa and JT in a 3-hole playoff. Great. They were going back and forth, and as we said, wasn't on live television. Kind of
tough.
Tough for the PGA brand. Lost kind of a opportunity to get some new fans, but instead you just had all your old fans that you already had tuning in on like CBS Sports, like online. Anyway, our lineup was fine. We had Cantley and Streelman, who were both T7. It was fine. Brendan Steele, pretty good pick for 7,000. I think he was right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Damon got super cut.
I mean, if you get cut, you get cut. So
he got super cut.
Super
though.
cut.
Like,
he got like
way
cut.
Like
about as cut as you can be, honestly.
Yes.
Yes.
That one's on me. That's my B.
Hadwin, T35. We'll get into that later because that
one's also on me.
Certain bet for us. And Spieth, honestly, he should have made the cut. He was 2 under with 2 to play, and I think he went double bogey and then par.
You know what? Yeah, I wasn't in love with that pick, but
no, if he made the
close.
weekend,
it was close.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, well, you can talk about expose the bookie. Adam Hadwin,
so expose the bookie
minus 125.
35.
We finally hit one. What are we?
Yes,
1 and 4?
We are
1 and 4. Let's go.
I mean, it was close to T35. I mean, Hadwin started off great. I think he was like second or third in the after the first round. So
right,
that kind of saved him.
And our long shots were, not great. But like, you can never expect a long shot to like actually hit. It's more just like sprinkle that every week, and maybe you'll get a lot of money one week. But like Spieth got cut, got cut, even though he went +4 or +4 and then 4 under 2 straight days. And then Cameron Champ come T67 or just 67?
I think solo 67.
Solo 67th. Huge. Yes. If you had him top 68. Huge.
Absolutely huge. That's a lot of money right
Patrick Cantley, he was a first round leader. Didn't really do great on the first day. I think he was 2 under.
Did sick on the last day.
We just keep getting them mixed up. But yeah, on that note, let's move into the Draftkings lineup of the week. Who's got what? I'll get the second.
I'll start with it. I'll start with the first one. Okay. So I'll do Webb Simpson to start, 9,600. This week is all about ball striking, as every week is, and he's obviously a sick ball striker, good putter. Won a couple weeks ago at RBC Heritage. He's 5th this season in strokes gained approach, and he's 1st in birdie average. That bodes pretty well for a good week, especially when ball striking is as important as it is here. It's more important than driving. It's more important than sand saves. More important than anything, pretty much anything else. So if he's top 5 in that, he's bound for a pretty good week. And he's Webb Simpson. He's pretty consistent anyway.
So underrated, yeah. I feel like.
Yeah,
I mean, him and
Bryson every week is so underrated.
Him and Bryson are the 2 guys that like they've just been up there like every week, except
every
for
single week.
Every single week. But anyway, we'll go with our next one. Daniel Berger at 8,700. He hasn't played since the RBC Heritage, but he's 37th in strokes gained off the tee, 35th in approach, 10th in strokes gained putting, 7th in total strokes gained. This guy, I said this on the Pin High podcast, he literally he had a win at the Charles Schwab, T3 at RBC, then he dipped for a couple weeks. I guess he made his money that he wanted to make. And now he's back, and I think, at a place like this is a ball striker's paradise, as we saw like JT, Morikawa, and Hovland were top 3 in the field and top 3 in the field in strokes gained approach. So I feel like this is a good week for him. And I'll do the next one as well. Another, ball striker, Abraham Answer at 8,500, and 8,500 seems a little weird because like I feel like before he took 2 weeks off, these past 2 weeks he was the hottest player on tour, maybe top 3 hottest player on tour.
Definitely.
And he's 11th in strokes gained approach, 5th in that little stat that we threw in last week, proximity and from 150 to 175 yards. Pretty good putter, above average putter. and his recent finishes speak for themselves. I mean, T11, 2, and T14.
Yeah, pretty good. Trev, you take the next one. I'll take the last two.
All right, so we'll go with Joaquin Neiman.
Joaquin.
Can't believe Joaquin. Sorry, don't know how to say it. 7,900. Honestly, he's like, for him, he's like usually in like the mid like $8,000 range. Mm-hmm. So for him at this value, obviously stacked field, but finished T31 last week, T27 the Memorial last year. So he knows the course. He likes the course. He played a little kind of like, I call it pretty much a warm-up round last week if he didn't play like as well as he wanted to play. And he's 16th at strokes gained approach. Obviously, he's a very good ball striker. We've seen that time and time again. So I think for his value at 7,900 could be great play.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those names whenever there's like a big field in the tournament, like he always kind of finds his way up there.
To like the top 20. He's always like lingering. He's not like quite up at the top, but he's always lingering right in the top 20, top 30 range.
Okay, so next we're going to go with Ian Poulter at 7,600. He low-key finished T5 last week. He's been on fire with his putter. Fifth gain in strokes gained putting this year. He was second last week in the Workday. What he lacks in approach, he actually makes up for in strokes gained around the green. He's 22nd this year. He was 8th last week, so that's why he played well last week. So even though we're looking at strokes gained approach as that important stat, Poulter kind of makes up for it with his wedge game and his short game around the green. So, and I mean, I love taking hot putters. Hot putters score well. So, I mean, he's been putting lights out the last couple of weeks.
I feel like Poulter's been playing pretty well this week. Pretty well this year too. He played well at the RBC. Played well at a couple of tournaments. He's been consistently like not like good average, but he's been consistently like top 20. Like
I mean, for T5 last week and 7,600, that's a pretty good salary.
Yeah, really good.
Also, another stat that I saw is just like bogey avoidance is bigger than anything in scoring. And I feel like a guy like Ian Poulter, who's like experienced, and those European guys don't seem to like
just scrappy, gritty golf.
They don't seem to bogey a lot of holes. They seem like they just like maybe they don't score like as low as like some of these guys that can get real hot, but like
they make their par, they move on.
But they make par, they move on. That seems like a theme with European guys.
Exactly.
Okay, and then our last pick, we're gonna go with Adam Hadwin at 7,400. We picked him last week. We're high on him last week. Like I said, if you tuned in last week, pretty much he has a lot of very good stats for this golf course. And he seems kind of undervalued at 7,400. He's been playing pretty well. I mean, he was T35 last week, which isn't great, but it's not bad. He had a really good first round. He likes this golf course. 7,400 as our lowest guy. I think Adam Hadwin's pretty good.
If he comes T35 this week at 7,400, I'll take that. I'd take that right now.
Absolutely. He's been playing well recently too. So I don't know. I kind of like that.
7,400 just seems weird. What do they know that we don't? I don't know.
I mean, they're probably just looking off recent form, I guess. And
also,
the field
is a lot more stacked. Yeah,
it is a lot.
Agreed. So let's move on to our Expose the Bookie. We were debating between top 40 and top 30, but to go with a really safe bet, we're going Abraham Answer top 40. We're going with that bet again, like we had with Hadwin last week. Minus 137.
Love Answer.
Well, I mean, yeah,
if you want to sprinkle
really
top,
Answer this
if
week.
You want to sprinkle top 30, I think it's like plus 110.
It is, yes.
Which is not bad.
But for our sake, we're going with top 40. Try to get that another win.
Right.
Top 40 minus 137. I love that. I can't believe those are the odds.
Let's go to our long shots. Again, it's 50-1 or above. I love to look at the guys with 50-1. And last week it was Spieth who I thought was decent value, but Abraham Answer just seems like a guy who's undervalued across the board, whether it's on the sports books or on like DFS.
He definitely is, and he's literally like we've talked about, like literally like one of the hottest players on tour when he's played.
Exactly.
Like he just doesn't miss. He doesn't miss greens. He doesn't miss fairways. He's good putter. Like he's 8,500 and he's 50-1 to win this week. Like that's like I think that's a steal.
Yeah. It just shows you how good the field is, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Adam Hadwin at 90-1. Pretty much the same reasons as last week. I mean, just as a long shot guy, at 90-1, Adam Hadwin has all the stats to play well here. He's a good ball striker. And ball strikers play well at this golf course, so I don't know. I'm taking a flyer. Adam Hadwin.
And I'll go with my last pick, last long shot, Justin Rose, which feels weird considering he's 60-1 as a long shot. You'd think he's like one of the top guys. He hasn't played great, but he has a good history here. He won once. He missed the cut last week. It's a bounce back week again. I think it's last week kind of acts like a warm up for a lot of players who missed the cut. A lot of good players who missed the cut, like Koepka missed the cut as well. So I think he could bounce back. He might not win, but he could play. I think he could play pretty well. Maybe get like a top 20, top 10. Who knows?
Yeah, I actually picked him to win last week, like in my
on the
podcast,
and his
because of the history,
so much lower,
and his odds were like not great, and they're even lower this week. So I don't know. It's just
so tired,
he's one of those guys that could probably bounce back and play well this week.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
So for our first round leader, we were debating on the podcast as well between Answer and Woodland. They're both plus 5,000. I think for the sake of diversifying our little portfolio here, I feel like we got Answer way too much on here. So let's go with Gary Woodland plus 5,000.
I agree with that.
So I looked at the stats. He actually didn't really play well in the first round last week, but based on the last 3 rounds, he's hot. He came back after the first round, shot 3 sub-70 rounds. I think he finished in 5th last week.
Yeah, snuck into a T5.
I mean, I think he had like a 66 on Saturday or something. So he played pretty well the last couple of days. He's a ball striker. We said ball strikers are good this week, so might as well pick another ball striker. He's 10th in scoring average before the cut, and he's 9th in birdie average, which is pretty important, saying that first round leader, you want a lot of birdies. So I don't know. I like Gary Woodland, first round leader.
Right. So yeah, that'll do it for this week's episode. Hopefully you guys take some of the advice. Hopefully you make some money. We're back next week at the 3M Open, and then we got a nice stretch of tournaments. Maybe we'll pick Matt Wolff next week since he's the defending champ. Yeah. And Jeek won't put him off again. But yeah, we'll move on to Minnesota next week, and we'll see you then.